Tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about family, and this was inspired by something that happened this week. So, just to give anyone who may join the call time to jump on, we'll just cover a few things for us. This week I finished a couple of essays that I began in 2013. One is called I Am God, Have You Forgotten Me? That's now available on Kindle, Amazon, and so on. You can actually get it on a paperback, or a digital download as well. The second one is called Life, Why Do You Tease Me? Again, this was another little essay I wrote in around 2013, and that again is available. Actually, they may not be quite available just yet because it can take 2 to 3 days for them to clear, but they are now loaded up to Amazon, and they're ready to go. And of course, they're very, very cheap as well. I think they're about $2 or $3 or something like that. So they're very, very low, just so you can have something a little bit to read. Now, of course, if you have any questions on anything, whether it be Zumanity, whether it be deliberate recreation, whether it be if I'm going to be doing any live talks or anything in any time in the near future, or whether it be anything else maybe related to family or any other things as well, just type them in here on the screen. They will appear underneath, and as soon as they appear, tomorrow will let me know they are there, and if I can answer them, I will answer them for you. So I'm not sure, it's a couple of minutes past now, so I think we'll get started. My wife is on the other side tomorrow, my beautiful wife. She's going to be asking me a couple of pressing questions.
Hi everyone from the other side. The question was, we thought it was interesting, and the feedback we received was also quite interesting about the recent article that you wrote, and it was about Family Reshaped. The question, I suppose, is what made you write that particular topic? And I suppose another question is, what did you hope, if you had such a hope, that readers would take from that article?
Well, the first reason, the first question you asked was, why did I write the article? I think how it began was I'd been doing some reviewing through one of my other projects, which is the Zumanity project, and there was a big essay I wrote a few years ago, and it's just called Family. So I reread the article, and I thought, it's the problem is we have these embedded expectations of what family should actually be. So most people have this very strict, rigid discipline of what a family should be. So there should be a mother and a father and children, or there should just be a mother and father, there should be grandfathers, and so on and so on and so on. And really, in my experience in life, through myself and through friends, you quickly realise that a family has to be very elastic. Because the family, we talk about families being strong. Your family will always have a time where it's either put on the test, where people will really see how far it can bend. Or, like during a storm on a tropical island, you'll get a palm tree which will actually go horizontal and it won't break. But some trees do. So really, the article was inspired on the fact that people tend to feel, I'm on about mainstream Zumanic people, those within the Zumanic trance, those type of people, those type of institutions, those type of repeaters will always tell us it has to be this way all the time. And if family isn't that way, family divides and breaks and falls apart. And I know through my own experience within family, I did mention it in the article, so it's no big secret, that when I went through a divorce, it created a huge division within my family and family members, to the extent that it actually broke the family up. And it brought the family up to the extent that some members of the family no longer speak since that moment, although there was probably things there going on before then. And other people have come in and other people have gone out, and so on and so on and so forth. So The whole Family Reshaped thing was really inspired by the reality that sometimes family isn't what we're told it's going to be. Family is something that we have to create, we have to mould, we have to shape, we have to make it. We have to make a family happen. I forgot what your second question was now.
The question was, what did you hope the readers could take from this article?
Well, I think what happens is when a family divides and breaks up and falls apart, because there's this repeating pattern through, Zoomanic embedding within society, because of that repeated pattern, we're almost made to feel ashamed. Because we've been divorced, the family's broke up, something's happened. We're made to feel this kind of shame, not in every circle, but in lots of circles. So that people will always say, oh yeah, have you heard he or she's divorced now? Did you know she's on her third husband? And really, the fact is, it's got no business of anyone, in the slightest, what anybody's doing with anything. It doesn't matter, because we are on the earth for a period of time, and during that period of time, we have to be happy. We have to create our own happiness. And some things you can't control what happens with a family. It's just completely out of our control. But even more, it's out of our control what other people may think. If they think something in harmony with the way that the masses think, it doesn't matter, we can't control it. So we have to look at our own family and recreate a family.
And I suppose it's not just about divorce, is it? It's
No.
just, for example, you can lose your family because of unfortunate circumstances or for any other reason, or maybe you move out and you just lose connection with a certain type of people. So it can be any kind of life event.
Of course, yeah. It's any major life event. Somebody could leave their country, move to another on their own, yet their family is still 5,000 miles away. So does that mean that they will now be without a family? Well, not really. And any other life event like a death or whatever, but the point is, you have to create that family. And the truth is, family can be made of friends. It can be made from new acquaintances. It can be made from lovers. It can be made from your next door neighbour. That's what the truth is on family. We watched the news in Syria this evening, and we saw a young boy who was around 12, who all his family had been killed during the Syrian war. Yet that boy isn't alone. He's been taken in by new people, and they will become his family. Even my own father, he lost his mum and dad when he was a child. Not because they died, because they ran away and left him. And he only met them when he was 19 years later. So in that meantime, he still had a family. And his mother and father were his granny and grandmother. But sometimes in life also we have to physically make an effort to reshape that family. And the fact is, it may not be exactly what we expected as we were growing up, but we can still create the most perfect, the most wonderful, the most incredible family ever.
Interesting. So, just one question I really want to ask you. It's you mentioned in the article. It's about the closing episode of War and Peace, and you mentioned that it really made you cry. And I remember you did cry. Why was it so powerful? What was that about the final scene of the episode? Perhaps refresh the memory of what's the scene.
I think what it is in War and Peace is Tolstoy writing really his family history and historical events at that time. It took him 7 years to write this book. Now, he came from an oligarch type family, so he was a landowner. He maybe had 5,000 servants beneath him. They'd all been passed through the family. The way the families were created in War and Peace and in Russian society, and most societies in those days, was you married somebody of your own level. That was it. But of course, the reality isn't like that, even during the families in War and Peace. So people were being rejected because they weren't part of this family. People were being rejected because they had no money. One brother was rejected because he'd started to fall in love with a prostitute. and so on and so on and so forth. And it created all these little isolated pockets of people within this big picture. And while these people were going to war, they were leaving lovers and they were coming back and the lovers, and so on and so on and so forth. So the ideology of the family in Russia at that time was, like most countries, it was extremely strong. And at the end of the film, everyone who was rejected, or everyone who was a mismatch, or everyone who had a horrible husband, yet he died during the war period, at the very end of the movie, you see them all sat in the garden around the table having dinner. But it's not the family that you see at the beginning. It's not the family you see at the beginning. It's not the Lord and Lady. It's not the Duke and the Duchess. It's not the husband and the wife. It's not the husband and the wife with the children. It's not the Duke and his lover and so on. It's a completely reconstructed family with people who were rejected all the way through the film. So, for instance, one of the main characters in the film, he ends up falling in love with someone else. They have children, and all these remnants, because that's all there were remnants and pieces from other families, all came together and created this completely cohesive unit around this table. And it just showed for me in that moment, I thought, wow, regardless of the destruction that can take place in a family,
and there was a war,
and there was a war and everything else, and you had all these like inherent conditions where people were rejected because of who they were. Despite all that, all these remnants came together at the end, and they created a whole, and a strong whole. And it finishes off with them all smiling, babies running in the field and so on. And it just made me realise for that moment that family is actually what you create. It isn't what you inherit. Because if you inherit a family, you may inherit the worst family on the planet. And there's nothing you can do about that. And they'll make your life miserable. But you may inherit a wonderful family as well. But at the end of the day, the family that we have and the life that we have through that family is exactly what we have created.
Interesting. If there are any questions, maybe we'll give a minute.
Yeah, sure. If there's anyone watching the call or listening to the call right now, if you have a question, now is your opportunity on family. Of course, the family ties into deliberate recreation. A deliberate recreation ties it into Zoomanity. So we're just going to wait a few seconds just for any questions. Do you have a question? Any questions you want to ask?
Obviously this can be replayed, so if anybody has questions they can...
Of course, the whole video will be on the Facebook page and YouTube. If you have a question, write it down below. And in the meantime, if you need to know more or you want to know more, of course you'll find me all over Amazon with all my books, happiness book, Zoomanity book, observations, short stories book, poetry books, the 2 new essays that have just gone up, I Am God and Life, Why Do You Tease Me? You'll find them on Amazon. You'll also find everything, including signed copies of any of my books, on alanforrestsmith.com. So it seems we don't have any questions. Thank you if you tuned in, and we'll be back very soon with another short question and answer session or live essay. Thanks everyone.